November 1989. Berliners gather at the wall, their faces illuminated by floodlights and hope. A border guard, uncertain yet resolute, steps aside. The Cold War's most infamous barrier is crumbling, not with a bang, but with cheers, chants, and the sound of stone breaking under hammers. It is the end of an era. After World War II, Germany was carved into zones. The capital, Berlin, though deep in the Soviet-controlled East, was also divided among the victors. Over time, two Germanys emerged: the capitalist West, backed by the US and its allies, and the socialist East under Soviet influence. By the late 1950s, East Germans were fleeing to the West in massive numbers, nearly 3 million by 1961. The brain drain was crippling. To stop the exodus, the East German government made a fateful decision. Overnight, on August 13, 1961, they built a wall. Concrete slabs, barbed wire, watchtowers, armed guards. What started as a barbed wire fence soon became a heavily fortified 27-mile-long scar slicing through the heart of Berlin. Families were separated, friends torn apart, a city and a country divided. The wall became a symbol, not just of Germany's division, but of the global standoff between East and West. But walls don't last forever. By the mid-1980s, change was brewing across Eastern Europe. In the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev introduced glasnost and perestroika, openness and reform. But East Germany's leadership, clinging to Stalinist rigidity, refused to follow suit. Meanwhile, in Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, protests surged. People demanded freedoms, reforms, democracy. In East Germany, the resistance grew. Every Monday, demonstrators gathered in Leipzig. "Wir sind das Volk," we are the people, they chanted. The message was simple: the government should serve the people, not the other way around. As the protests spread, the East German regime tried to suppress them, but something had shifted. The fear was fading, people were rising, the tide was turning, and then came the mistake. On November 9, 1989, a government spokesperson named Gunnar Schabowski was handed a note moments before a press conference. The note vaguely stated that East Berliners would soon be allowed to travel freely. When asked by reporters when the new policy would take effect, Schabowski, confused and under pressure, replied, "As far as I know, immediately."
Das tritt nach meiner Kenntnis ist das sofort. Unverzüglich.
The news exploded. West German news outlets reported that the Berlin Wall was open. Crowds began to gather at checkpoints across the city. Border guards, uninformed and overwhelmed, faced a dilemma: shoot to stop them or let them through. They chose humanity. That night, the unthinkable happened. The wall didn't fall because of war, or treaties, or orders. It fell because ordinary people, driven by hope, demanded change, and no one was willing to stop them. Thousands flooded across the border. They hugged, danced, cried. They climbed the wall, waved flags, passed champagne bottles hand to hand. In those euphoric hours, Berlin was no longer East or West. It was simply Berlin.
Thousands of East Germans came across the border today, perhaps more than 100,000, so many that border police lost count. And at every border crossing, thousands of West Germans there to say welcome. Some of the really good news today was for the East German government. While thousands and thousands came to look, even gape at this showcase of capitalism, the vast majority said they would be going back. The simple act of giving people the freedom to travel may have convinced East Germans they need not take flight whenever the door opens just a fraction. It has been an astonishing day. Hour after hour, all through today, thousands and thousands of West Germans have come to the wall to see for themselves, to climb up on this hideous structure, to finally look down at what has been no man's land for so long. Finally, after all these years, to say in person what they think of the East German border guards, or try to make friends. Suddenly a flashback to what it was like for so long. A young man in the East makes a dash for the wall. They catch him and take him away. Presumably, he should have used a legal border crossing. Only a couple of years ago, he might have been shot. Not today. Today, it was possible to have a dialogue.
Your government seems to be changing every day. Where do you think it's going?
That's the government's problem, he says, not mine. Such an astonishing moment in history. Now, what's it feel like to be standing on top of the wall?
It's incredible for me. I can't describe really my feelings. It's something unreal for me.
If there is someone who sleeps for 8 weeks and you told him what happened here, he thinks you're crazy. It's unthinkable.
Unthinkable. Tonight at the border crossings, including Checkpoint Charlie, which is normally a crossing for non-Germans only, there was still a block-long gauntlet of goodwill. Here, as everywhere else, it is one breathtaking moment after another. The new arrivals in their tiny, smoke-belching cars were greeted like athletes, patted on the back and cheered forward, sometimes pushed forward. Many of the East Germans were stunned by it all. I'd been waiting 28 years for this, he told us. Will you come permanently, we asked. How long will you stay? I haven't much money, he said, but I'll stay till I run out of gas.
Over the next days and weeks, the wall was dismantled piece by piece. People brought chisels, sledgehammers, anything they could. Chunks were taken as souvenirs, symbols of resistance, of reunification. The Iron Curtain that Winston Churchill once described was rusting away before the world's eyes. Less than a year later, on October 3, 1990, Germany was officially reunited. For many, it was the end of the Cold War. For others, it was the beginning of healing, a long process of rebuilding what had been physically and emotionally severed for decades. Today, fragments of the Berlin Wall remain across the world, in museums and parks and public squares. Not as symbols of division, but as monuments to peace, to resilience, to people power. The fall of the Berlin Wall wasn't just about Germany. It was about what can happen when people stand up to power, when truth breaks through silence, when walls, real and imagined, are brought down by unity. History doesn't always turn on grand battles. Sometimes it changes because someone said the wrong thing at the right moment and the world was ready to listen. So next time you walk freely through a city, remember somewhere, not so long ago, a wall once stood. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.